I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. You know, like everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. You know.
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
Right now? No, how?
Yeah, he's right, dude. He's right.
How? You know, he fought in one division. You know,
never unified the belts.
He unified.
He did unify.
You know,
IBF.
He unified.
Yeah, but I'm at the point in my career. The money right, I'll fight anybody. So.
ErrolSpence and TerenceCrawford recently went head-to-head in a heated Instagram live session, where Spence demanded a rematch and confidently vowed to defeat Crawford this time around. Their initial bout for the undisputed world. Welterweight championship included a rematch clause, but for reasons unknown, Spence delayed activating it. Eventually, Crawford moved on, no longer willing to wait. However, after a recent controversial statement from Crawford, it seems Spence has finally been stirred from his silence, and now he's ready for war.
You know, he said the Jose Benavidez fight was probably the toughest fight of his career, and I think you said back in the day you had your way with him in sparring. Is there anything to take away from that, or that you take away from it?
Nah, not at all. I mean, it was a good fight. He fought a one-legged Jose Benavidez, and it was the toughest fight of his career. That says a lot.
What does it say?
The former unified. Welterweight champion is now determined to step back into the ring and redeem himself against the man who handed him his first professional loss. However, many boxing experts believe it's a risky move, arguably the worst possible step, for Spence to jump straight into a rematch with an active and sharp Terence Crawford without first taking a
Walking over my feet. You know, I want to get out the game. I got kids, got a mom and dad, and you know, they want to enjoy me. So
tune-up fight. Still, Spence remains laser-focused on one goal, beating Crawford. The former world champion has found fresh motivation in Crawford's recent remarks and firmly believes that a victory over Crawford would cement his place in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. But there's a flip side. Many question whether Spence, who was already dealing with personal setbacks when Crawford dismantled him in their first fight, is in any better shape now after a long stretch of inactivity.
He did unify.
You know,
IBF.
He unified.
Yeah, was it?
He had three.
Yeah.
He had the
Yeah,
WBC,
but he didn't unify all four.
WBA,
He wasn't
IBF.
undisputed.
Huh?
He
no,
wasn't
no,
undisputed.
He wasn't. No, but what I'm saying is, they already called him a weight bully, right? He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. You know, he beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
he fought a one-legged Jose Benavidez. So what do you think it's it?
Well, what is Terence's best victory for you?
Probably Gamboa.
Why do you say that?
Because I can't thank anybody else.
Did you say Postal? Was it Postal?
Gamboa.
No.
Gamboa.
Recently, was there?
These concerns were reignited when Terence "Bud" Crawford publicly stated he wasn't convinced that Errol Spence Jr.'s accomplishments are worthy of Hall of Fame recognition. Since being stopped by Crawford, in the 9th round of their highly anticipated super fight at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Errol Spence hasn't returned to the ring. Marketed as a 50-50 matchup, the bout turned into a one-sided showcase, with Crawford dropping Spence 3 times in a career-defining performance. Prior to that defeat, Spence, 28-1, held 3 welterweight world titles and had built an impressive
for his title. I'm fighting for a title, and there's a possibility. He win his fight, God willing. I win my fight, God willing, and there's a possibility right there.
A resume with wins over the likes of Kell Brook, Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, and Yordenis Ugas. Speaking on pound for pound with Kamaru and Henry, Crawford reflected on their rivalry. admitting he was a fan of Spence before they ever shared the ring, and still is today. Crawford didn't hold back when reflecting on the criticism he faced as he moved up in weight. Just when I moved into Spence's division, suddenly it was all, "You're not fighting anybody, you're this, you're that," Crawford said. They tried to downplay my accomplishments just to elevate him, but I'm like, listen, I could retire today and still make the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Everything I've achieved, he's still trying to achieve. At that point, co-host and former UFC champion Kamaru Usman jumped in.
Is there ever a possibility where you would rematch Errol Spence? Or is he in a position where he needs to win again before that makes sense for you?
The possibility is there.
Asking Crawford if he believed Spence would make the Hall of Fame right now. Crawford didn't hesitate. No way. Fellow co-host and ex-UFC champ Henry Cejudo agreed. As Crawford went on, Spence stayed in one division, unified, and held 3 belts, but he was never undisputed. He beat Kell Brook after a loss and an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter. Look, I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but honestly, I don't know if the resume he has today is enough to get him into the Hall of Fame. Crawford, 41, solidified his future.
You know what I mean? That's a good win. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him or, you know,
I understand
things like that, but I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he didn't got right now.
Hall of Fame legacy on July 29, 2023, when he defeated Errol Spence to become the undisputed welterweight champion. It was the second time Bud had unified all 4 major titles in a division, having previously accomplished the feat at super lightweight with a win over Julius Indongo in July 2017. Since capturing his first world title at lightweight in 2014, Crawford has continued to dominate across multiple weight classes. Most recently in August, he moved up to super welterweight.
He looked good. He showed a lot of patience, showed a lot of poise, broke him down, and was able to stop him at the end.
Everybody's wondering what's going on with you and Crawford. This fight going to happen?
I think it's going to happen. We both want to fight. I want to fight. He wants to fight. And, it's going down to negotiations, so I definitely...
And defeated Israel Madrimov to claim the WBA world title. Before that, Crawford, the 35-year-old World Boxing Organization champion, knocked Spence down 3 times before the referee called an end to the punishment in the 9th round. The victory made Crawford the first fighter in history to win undisputed titles in 2 weight classes, as he stripped Spence of his WBC, WBA Super, and IBF titles. I'm an overachiever
this year, and we're going to score off this year with the biggest fight in boxing.
It is the biggest fight in boxing. Where and when, if you were guessing?
I don't know where, I don't know when, but it's definitely going to be this year.
All right, we look forward to that. Thanks for taking the time, Errol.
Achiever. Nobody believed in me when I was coming up, Crawford said. At 33 years old, Spence entered the Las Vegas Showdown undefeated in 28 fights, marking his 8th consecutive world title bout. In his 18th consecutive championship bout, Crawford solidified his claim as the world's best boxer, extending his win streak to 40 fights at T-Mobile Arena. It means everything because of who I took the belts from, Crawford said. They talked bad about me, and I kept praying to God for the opportunity to show the world how great I am, and tonight I believe I showed that. Although Spence has the
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen, it's the main event of the evening, brought to you by Premier Boxing Champions, 12 rounds of boxing for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world.
option to activate an immediate rematch, Crawford expressed that he is open to agreeing to a second fight. "Hey, of course, the public will buy it," Crawford said. "If the fight happens again, I'm pretty sure everyone will come out and show support for us." Despite being the unified champion, Spence made his entrance first, but Crawford had won a coin toss at the news conference on Thursday, giving him the right to decide who would take the champion's spot. Dressed in black and white with red trim, Spence walked second.
Definitely, it was exciting. The whole build up to it and leading up to it too. So it's something that I wouldn't change for nothing. And I'm definitely open to the rematch, and hopefully it'll be at 154 pounds.
Second for the first time since defeating Kell Brook to win his first world title in 2017. The ring walks made it clear that Crawford's fans outnumbered Spence's, and T-Mobile Arena erupted when American rap superstar Eminem emerged from the smoke alongside Crawford, dressed in black with a fishnet draped over his shoulder. Crawford said a quick prayer before stepping into the ring, and the stage was set for one of the most anticipated.
ErrolSpence, the other welterweight champion, who watched that knockdown, put his hand to his face, and said,
contests in boxing over the past 20 years. The opening round was tentative, with neither fighter willing to fully engage. In the second round, Spence found success behind his jab, but soon realized Crawford was hunting for powerful counters. One counter shot whipped just centimeters past Spence's face, but moments later, Crawford landed a perfect 1-2, dropping Spence as he advanced. Spence wobbled, but quickly regained his footing, and Crawford capitalized with a strong right hand just before the bell. The speed and timing of Crawford sparked moments of panic in Spence, who tried to press forward in the third round and impose himself. However, Crawford was simply too quick, repeatedly tagging Spence with precise counters. In the fourth, Spence was caught by an uppercut, then ducked right into several hooks from Crawford before taking a devastating long left hand that sent blood flying from the Texan's nose. Crawford continued to pick Spence apart in the fifth.
TerenceCrawford, 4 tytuły, kategoria fundamentów Errola Spence'a Jr. w tym pojedynku. I raz jeden. Ataki na razie lepiej wszedły w tę walkę z pęka.
Zobaczymy, czy tak to będzie wyglądało w tej walce. Dopiero drugie starcie. Robi się gorąco.
Po raz pierwszy w karierze ErrolSpence. Ale to może być wielki spektakl. Teraz obija korpus Crawford. Tamtego knockdownu bardziej myślę za...
Selecting his shots with precision and punishing him with sharp combinations. Spence tried to fight fire with fire, but his timing was now completely off as Crawford began to press forward. After spending much of the fight brilliantly on the back foot, Crawford was now charging at Spence. The Texan attempted to keep him at bay with his jab, but Crawford punched through his defenses, repeatedly landing left hands and mixing in uppercuts at close range. By the midway point, Crawford could count himself at least 5 rounds ahead, including the 10-8 knockdown round. However, even with that dominance...
You're a guy that always wanted to fight the best people out there. Even if you're on the layup, always want to fight the best guys. We got a guy in Jaron Ennis right now who's killing everybody. Floyd is praising him, Roy Jones, everybody really. Would a part of you, and not looking past Terence, but would a part of you be like, yo, this kid is good, I gotta fight this kid.
The World Boxing Organization champion wasn't done. He allowed Spence to come at him early, in the 7th before countering with a thunderous uppercut, followed by a right hook that sent Spence to the canvas for the second time. Once again, Spence got up quickly, but was unsteady on his feet. Crawford sensed the end was near and stepped on the gas. Spence bounced off the ropes, trying to avoid the onslaught, only to walk right into another right hook that sent him down once more. The bell rang to save Spence, and a convincing case could have been made to pull the...
Ale ten lewy był mocno boks. Ależ mocny lewy Spence'a i za chwilę deski.
Ale jaka odpowiedź? Nie wraca ta lewa ręka.
Który zaaplikował mu Crawford. Ostatnie sekundy 7. rundy i kolejny knockdown. Patrzy na to, co wyprawia w tej walce Terence Crawford.
To samo, czyli...
Ależ teraz bomb!
Battered champion out of the fight. Nevertheless, Spence came out for the 8th, hoping to land one punch that could turn the tide. But Crawford's superiority was entrenched. He boxed beautifully off his jab, confusing Spence with his speed and movement. Spence's face was now swollen and battered on the left side, and his punches lacked power, while Crawford's jab kept snapping back his head. In the 9th, the punishment for Spence finally ended. Crawford invited him to fight fire with fire, and Spence obliged, but while Crawford remained calm, Spence was wild. Another right hook landed, stunning Spence, and as he unleashed a flurry of punches, the referee stepped in to stop the contest. Crawford was elated, celebrating with his family after checking on his fellow pound-for-pound great. Before the fight...
What's your thoughts on the fight as a whole?
You know, I think Bud is out for the best. That's something that I know personally about Bud. You know, feeling counted out and doubted for so long, I think that Bud mentally feels as if I do this against Canelo, no one can ever deny anything that I've done. You know, even when you like the fight with me, I've heard